Good afternoon, guys. How you doing?
Pretty
Hi.
good, pretty good.
All right, so today we're going to be doing a first opinions, maybe 1.5, on Bug Fables, The Everlasting Sapling by Moonsprout Games. This game is out on PC, PS4, Xbox One, and Switch. Released at a very budget price of $29.99 American, $33.49 Canadian. Except that I think the Steam one, which has been out for a little bit longer, is already down to like $20.
Wow, okay.
It is a turn-based RPG, typical load into a separate screen for combat, that takes heavy influence from Paper Mario.
Yeah, we can already kind of see that looking at it. Like, everything's flat and, graphically they flip, I guess, when they move.
Yeah, and I can't really say I fault them for that decision because it is such an untapped market, right? Like,
Yeah.
if you say Paper Mario-like game, that's it. There isn't like a large genre of that.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is a shame because it was a pretty good game. Had a lot of nice concepts to it, and it's good to see someone's continuing it because Nintendo isn't.
Yeah, ever since the Wii one where they went to more of like the action platformer, it kind of, fell to the wayside for the RPG stuff.
Well, and I mean, you can't necessarily clump the graphic style with the type of game, because we have tons of turn-based RPGs. We just don't have a ton of games that are done in this graphic style. So what do you categorize it at? Because Paper Mario has gone to like an action game, so we're just talking about the graphical style.
Yeah.
All right. Now, with this game, every character has like separate abilities. You have the ability to flip or cut with the... oh wow, completely drawing a blank on his name. Or with the B, V, because the B's name is V. You have a boomerang. And now, these different abilities are used both in combat as well as in the world for traversal and public puzzle solving. And you do have a third character, Leif, who has the ability to use ice magic or to like freeze blocks and water to make platforms.
Okay.
I do like the minimal amount of strategy in it. Like, you can flip an enemy there, you can knock them out of the sky. Pretty cool that there's a little bit of strategy there, right?
Well, I think the whole thing is, and like you're seeing right now with the level ups are done as a party. And then, once you gain enough experience or exploration points in this, so you're still using XP, but it's exploration, you get to put in a passive bonus that is for the entire team. But you do have to consider the entire team as one entity, because if you have, say, an enemy that is flying, you need the boomerang to bring them down. If you have an enemy that's burrowed underground, only Leif's magic attack, which kind of shoots up from the ground as like a pillar, will bring them out. So, and like with the flipping, those enemies will take no damage if you're just attacking their outer shell. You have to flip them so that you can actually do damage. So,
Yeah.
It's like there's situations where if you don't have all three party members, like if one falls in battle, you're going to have a lot of difficulty because you have to plan for that. So it's almost like you have one character with three turns around and three personalities.
Yeah. I agree, a mushroom. You did all that for the mushroom?
I do like the little bit of puzzle solving and how the abilities in the world add to that. Definitely makes it more interesting than just a typical RPG where you just walk around.
Well, I will say this, like, I'm only about 9 hours into what is apparently like a 35-hour campaign, and the story, which is not bad by any means, hasn't really blown my mind, but the personality of the characters is fantastic. Like, V right there was like, whoever designed this, I'm gonna sting them in the face, right? Like, it's just, he's very, short-tempered. Leif actually always refers to himself as we. I have yet to figure that out, although there's definitely some mystery behind his character that if I say any more will be spoilers. So the story is still kind of to be determined, but there's a lot of charm and personality in it.
Yeah.
I like in terrain as well. It's nice. It just is a really nice looking game all around. because of the graphical style and the just how vibrant I really like that.
I will say that for all of the footage I've seen, whether it's videos or images, didn't actually stack up to how vibrant and colorful it is when I'm actually playing it. There just seems to be a little bit lost in the translation there. This game is absolutely stunning, hands down.
I do look like that they stuck with the smaller number system when it comes to combat. Easy to understand, you know?
Mm-hmm. And that's another important thing to mention about the combat, is not just the simple numbers, but the interactivity. It's like Paper Mario in that if you hit the button just before an enemy's attack hits you, you can reduce or negate damage. Every attack, regardless of what attack it is, will have some mechanic to do more damage. So like holding down a button for a certain amount of time, hitting it within a certain bar. With Leif, right? Like you get like a bit of a countdown, and then it gives you a face button to press, so it's kind of like a quick reaction there. And then depending on how well you do, again, you can either do more damage or potentially no damage.
Yeah, I do like the different terrain that we've gone to now. Exactly what Alex said.
In the time that I've spent in the game thus far, I haven't really been able to decipher like a main villain, right? Like the story revolves around the Queen of the Ants wanting you to retrieve the everlasting sapling, which is supposed to provide, unlimited power type thing. Oh, here you gotta, right? Tap the
defend
bars.
against it.
So,
yeah.
Yeah, so it's like an AoE defense. And, there's some hints that there's something not right with the Queen, and she might ultimately be the, big baddie, if you want to call it that. But up until now, it's just kind of been a random assortment of villains. So if there's one kind of negative that I would put, is that the beginning of the game, which again, this is more of a bit of a nitpick than a negative, it's a little bit more directionless than the game could be, right? But yeah. I'm sure it'll pick up, and it has been picking up, but it could be a little bit better to introduce the players into actual storyline.
Sort of the unassuming hero's story where they don't really have a major goal to start out.
I mean,
they get to do the sapling thing, right?
Yeah, but is that really a heroic thing? That's more let's go explore the world, find this super special thing because someone told us to.
Well, and to be fair, the game actually just starts with you being part of and stop me if you've heard this one before, generic adventuring guild. I think it's Explorers Guild in this one, and you go to kind of do a trial to join the group, and then you do so well and find the artifact that it kind of sends you off on your way. One thing I do want to mention before I further into the story, with the combat, you actually have something that I don't see in games too often. You can forego a turn to another member of your team.
Oh, yeah, that's actually pretty good.
So, if, say, the only enemy that is on screen is a flying enemy, so the only person that can hit them is V with their boomerang, you can actually give your turn to V. Now, for that turn, they'll have, a little bit of a lower attack power, but it'll still mean that you can then hit with a flying, hit an enemy with that attack, a specific attack you might need. And you can actually potentially give all 3 of your turns to one character if you needed to, although with diminishing returns.
Yeah.
And the other thing is there are preemptive attacks, so if you can flip or hit an enemy with a boomerang on the world map before you make contact with them to launch into the combat screen, the person who is leading your team, because you can actually choose which of the 3 is in the lead if you need to solve puzzles or whatever the case may be, will get 2 attacks in the round.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so there's again, it's very simple, but there is definitely still strategy to be found in the combat system, which is nice because some turn-based RPGs can literally just be pick an option from the menu, watch to see what plays out.
Yeah.
Alright, so we got just a couple minutes left here. Why don't you guys go into the typical question we have. Do you continue after the first opinion? Alex, why don't you start?
I think I would. I think if I had like a hankering for this sort of game, I'd probably want to keep playing something like this. It seems like a very interesting RPG. You don't get too much of it. It's something unique, right? But it does look like it's very well done for a sort of indie feeling game, right?
And I mean, definitely that's assisted by the budget price, right? What about you, Joshy?
Yeah, I definitely would play this more. Like, I mean, it looks right up my alley. I loved the Mario RPG as well as Paper Mario RPG games, so I definitely would do that.
I think I have to make it a clean sweep. We're talking about a game that is very lengthy at like a supposed 35 hours. I mean, I've only done 9 for the first opinions, but I mean, I'm only on chapter 3 of 7 for that 9 hours, so you definitely are going to get a good amount of gameplay. None of it feels like it's too repetitive or just like kind of dragging on between the main story and the side missions. There's collectibles in the world that you can use your different attacks and abilities to get. And we're talking about all of this at a price that is even lower than what we've kind of gotten used to considering like a budget price, right? Like when I think budget price, I think more like 40 to 50 Canadian, and we're talking about like 33, right? So that's a great entry point. Like it would not take long or much of a sale for this game to be like sub $20.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So that's our opinion. We got 3 out of 3 would continue after first opinions. We'll see you guys on the next one.
Hey, did you like that video? If you did, be sure to let us know by clicking the like button and leaving a comment. If you want to be first in line for any new content, be sure to subscribe to our channel and then hit up our Facebook page. The link's in the description below to see what's coming up next.